Plaintiff Ashley Baxter says the defendants are her mother and stepfather. And growing up, she always felt like her stepfather treated her differently because she wasn't his biological daughter. Ashley claims the defendants collected Social Security for her even after she moved out at age 17. But she was recently charged for an overpayment that they received, so she's suing. Defendant Cheryl Sadler and her husband Kevin say growing up, Ashley was a good kid, and Kevin denies treating her any differently than his biological children. Kevin admits that he started collecting Social Security after he was electrocuted and broke his back, and they insist they never intended to take money from Ashley.
Prove your case.
Your Honor, these are my parents, my mom and my stepfather. You guys know I love you very much. Your Honor, I do love my parents very much. However, when I was younger, I feel like I was treated a little bit different because I'm not the biological child of my stepfather. I felt like my siblings were treated a little bit better than I was. When I was grounded, that meant no phone, no TV, no friends, no going anywhere. When my sisters get grounded, it's for like an hour and then they're out doing whatever they want to do.
That was all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
What else?
That's not true.
Go ahead, what else?
Okay. So,
and this is something that most stepchildren feel. Go ahead.
When I was younger, I felt as if Kevin was the reason my biological father was not in my life. However, as an adult now, I do know that he wasn't the reason that my biological father isn't in my life.
So could it be that your belief that you were being treated unequal was untrue too?
No, it wasn't untrue. That's how I felt. I was treated different. However,
it could be untrue.
Right.
Okay.
And as an adult now, with my own children, I know that that's just the way I felt. I was a child. That's how I felt.
Okay, that's my point. Go ahead.
When I was 14 years old, I met my fiance, Mark. He was 18 and my parents disapproved of the relationship. However, I still continued to date him. When I was 17, I was still in high school. I had a full-time job and we moved in together. I wasn't your typical 17-year-old. I matured a lot faster. Being in high school and having a full-time job, I still graduated at the top of my class and paid all of my bills and was very responsible. College? I'm not in college.
I assume if you're proud of graduating at the top of your class, you had to be very proud of that and that you would go to the next level and continue your progress in college and then ultimately are able to get the best job. You didn't do that?
No, unfortunately I didn't.
What did you do?
Shortly after I graduated from high school, I became pregnant with my first child.
All right. Why didn't you go back after that?
Because I felt like I needed to get a full-time job to support my family, and that's
he didn't have one?
He did have one.
That wasn't enough?
No.
Okay. All right. Just want to understand how so much progress went down the drain.
I want to go back to school, and it's something that I've been pursuing.
How have you been pursuing it?
I've went to the financial aid department to try to get back into school. I've talked to advisors. I want to go to school to become a nurse. That's been my lifelong dream.
And did you apply for admittance?
Yes.
When?
3 weeks ago.
Okay. Good. So hopefully you'll get some good news soon. I'm sure if you graduated at the top of your class, you'll be admitted. Let's hear some background from you guys. Go ahead. You want to respond?
Ashley did real good growing up. We never had any no major problems with her, typical teenage problems. She always did real well in school.
She was a good kid.
Yeah, she was a good kid.
All right. And so when she did what many would regard, specifically me and probably you, move in and have a child prematurely, did you try to advise her against it? Did you say the things that I said? Hey, you got the top of your class, baby. Is go to college and 4 years from now, you'll make good money and then you can have a child and have a family.
Ashley was always strong-headed.
So you did tell her that. I didn't ask you whether she was strong-headed. I asked, did you?
No, I did not tell her that.
Okay.
Wouldn't have done any good.
Money that they stole from you, how so?
Prior to me moving out when I was 17, my stepfather was in a horrible accident when I was in the 6th grade. So he was collecting Social Security for himself, my mother, and us 4 children. When I moved out, they were still collecting Social Security money for me and keeping the money for themselves and not giving it to me.
What time frame?
I moved out in 2002. So they were still collecting money from 2002 till 2003 when I turned 18 and graduated
When
from high
did
school.
you discover that?
I didn't discover that they were collecting this money until I filed my tax returns last year.
Okay.
I filed my tax returns and I was supposed to get a specific amount back. And when it was deposited into my bank account, there was $1,899 missing from my tax return. So I had to investigate to figure out where this money went. And a couple days later, I finally got a letter in the mail from the IRS stating that Social Security took the money for an overpayment that was made to my parents.
Let's see it, please. You all want to
And I
respond?
have this too.
Well, Your Honor, in '95, I was in a bad accident at work. I was working on an extension ladder on a pole barn. I got electrocuted. I fell 2 stories, broke my back in 3 places, and I ended up not being able to
You were
work.
getting Social Security too, obviously.
Yes.
Now he just mixed it up. And I'm only having a little fun because you're healed now.
He was on,
You got the wrong check. Did it affect your vision?
No.
Oh, well, didn't affect his vision, so he knew what he was getting. All right. He knew whose money that was. Go ahead.
Well, when my workers' comp quit, my Social Security started up. And then subsequently, I started getting workers' comp again. So when Social Security realized that I was getting workers' compensation again, it was considered an overpayment. They took our money, deducted our checks from like $1,300 down to like $300 and some dollars.
This paper I'm reading is regarding her Social Security. So why do you think they say she had an overpayment?
Because we were
And
overpaid.
didn't you all have custody of the money?
We had, yeah.
Yes,
Yet she's getting the bill.
you're right.
You're right.
So you had an obligation to keep up with it and say, okay, they overpaid me and I'm the one that got the money. Well, I'm the one that has to pay back the money that I wasn't supposed to receive.
That's what we thought they were doing when they were taking the money out of our
Okay.
checks.
Well,
We thought they
didn't.
were taking it out of our checks.
All right. Sounds like it was an honest mistake, so don't be upset with them. Your
I'm
mother
not
said
upset.
how great you were as a child. You started off saying she loves you all very much,
we know
so
that.
everything is fine.
We love her, too.
You all just didn't understand what went on. $1,899 is your judgment. You all remain a good, close family, all right?
We're friends.
We're going to
We're
remain
family.
a close family.
We're close family.
I have no hard feelings towards my parents. I just feel like I deserve that money. I could use it for my family.
Love you.
I love you.